So my name is Gary Lai. I'm a principal and director of regenerative design at AHBE MIG. Just my background, I have a business Bachelor of Science of Landscape Architecture at Davis. I am a licensed landscape architect. A couple of certifications I have is I am a lead AP. Jesse mentioned lead being leadership in environmental design. I don't know what the other E stands for, but let's see, building development and the construction is the BD plus C. And then I'm a living building challenge ambassador. There's a couple of different certifications. So I've been doing this for a long time. I'm a 30-year veteran of landscape architecture. I'm involved in quite a few organizations down here. The Living Building Challenge Collaborative. Jesse and I sat on the board together. Jesse and I are currently on the USGBC LA board, and I'm a founding member of a new urbanist think tank called New American Dream. Just a little bit about my company, MIG. It's AHBE MIG. I was a principal at AHBE Landscape Architecture. MIG purchased AHBE in 2019, and currently I'm a principal LA-based firm here. But MIG is headquartered in Berkeley. They do a lot of different stuff besides landscape architecture. They have 15 offices nationwide. They do planning, design, engineering, community outreach, all sorts of stuff. They're a multidisciplinary firm, and quite a bit of landscape architecture is involved in the company. And they've been 38 years in business. So what is landscape architecture? I get that question a lot. We're a relatively small profession, but we are licensed to the state of California. This is the, you can read this if you like, but this is the official the definition of what the state considers to be a landscape architect. My quick elevator pitch for landscape architecture is that we're architects of living things. We deal with living systems and living things. Just some things about landscape architecture. Normally, if on a professional track, you would go through a 4-year university, but there is a 2-year certificate program after you get your Bachelor's of Arts and Bachelor's in Science, and for UCLA Extension, UC Berkeley Extension here in California. There is a master's program. Master's in Berkeley is quite well known. So there's several master's programs, and you can go all the way to a doctorate. Usually the professional track is the bachelor's though. General skills, math, technical writing, computer application literacy, sort of your basic stuff. Basic college level math. I took a lot of calculus, but that's not required for my job. Design. So, just like the architects, we go through pretty extensive design theory classes, I should say, on the program. It's all unlike architects that deal with buildings, we deal with site issues. So if you want to think about everything else besides the building, is kind of where our realm of design. Engineering concepts, so like I say, more like natural science, which is on the bottom. So we're talking about, civil engineering concepts, computer graphics and illustration, modeling, computer aided design, modeling. That's all of the graphics is somewhat a requirement for landscape architects. Technically, we have to deal a lot with building and construction technology and detailing, and like Jesse, not in terms of large buildings, but also, there's a lot of construction that goes on outside of that. So say, for example, we have to learn a lot about retaining walls and all sorts of drainage structures and all sorts of stuff that you might design out in the field. Sciences. So one thing that really takes us apart from an architect is that we concentrate on natural sciences. So you're talking about plant sciences, horticulture, biology, ecology, those types of sciences where you're dealing with living systems, and as opposed to the physical sciences, things like physics and structural engineering, that sort of thing. Okay, so landscape architects do a lot of different things, all sorts of realms of markets. All the way from residential. So I think in terms of landscape architecture, you might think of us as doing your yard. which there is a thing from that all the way down to working in city government, city and county government. So we can be planners, land planners, and that sort of thing. So there's a wide range of professions that you can do if you get your landscape architecture degree. Again, we work anything from private firms like my firm all the way up to city government. So I know landscape architects that work all along the realm there. How much does the landscape architect make? Starting here in Southern California is anywhere from 45 to 65,000. Usually we, I think our firm starts at about 60 is what we do, and there's sort of a living wage in LA. You work your way up, and you know, if you're a very successful star architect, you know, like you know, Frank Gehry, the sky's the limit. But you know, not many people are that, right? So my current path. So I started out actually digging ditches with my father after paying for 4 years at Davis. But you know, but I've steadily worked my way up, and I decided probably right around where Jesse was talking about in 2007 or so, that I was going to dedicate my career path to sustainability, resiliency, and regenerative design. So when we talk about that, you know, we're talking about climate change, right? We're talking about projects that make a difference in the climate and make a difference in terms of getting us to a point where we're at least leveling off in terms of global warming. We concentrate a lot on the circular economy. So we want to talk about linear economy, where you make something and you throw it away and you put it in a landfill. We concentrate a lot on trying to then come back and reuse things, recycling in all sorts of different ways. And we want to concentrate, as in terms of the building industry, you concentrate on 4 major things, which is water, materials. So this is the Santa Monica City Services building that Jesse was showing. Net zero means that you're trying to really pull this building off the grid as much as possible. You see all of the solar panels involved there, how the toilets are not run by water, they're foam flush toilets. All of the water is recycled. The rainwater is put into a cistern that then waters the actual water for use in the building, as well as water for the landscape, and a well makes up the difference. So this is a building that's pretty advanced in terms of technology for a building. That's why it's called a living building. In other words, it's supposed to be fairly self-sustaining. She had much better shots than I did. We were the landscape architects on the job. Jesse was the contractor on the job. This is the Burbank Water and Power building. This is, again, we're recycling water using drought-tolerant planting, or patio area for the complex, for the people that work in the building itself. This is Magic Johnson Park. This has just opened this last month. It's in South Los Angeles, and the big sustainability feature of this is that we're capturing water from the watershed. These were 2 existing lakes that were not recycled water, but now they're completely recycled water, and we're using the water from the lake to irrigate the rest of the park. It's 122 acres. So as you can see, it's a closed system. We're doing a circular system for it. And this is a shot of it right as we're working on it. That's a 23,000 square foot community recreation building that actually doesn't exist in this part. A building like that doesn't exist in this part of LA. It's a underserved neighborhood. So I had to kind of rush through there, but if there are any questions for me. To plant the plants doesn't really take that long. I would say a few months. The issue is getting the plants, right? You have to grow all of them. So that's, and that could take years in terms of what the nursery is. But nurseries around the state have, different sizes of plants. You can plant at any time. Career, you were able to to work internationally or easier code restrictions or work close to home. Yes, over my career, I have worked internationally. I've worked in Korea, China, Abu Dhabi, Middle East in the course of my career. There's a different thing between the United States and working abroad, of course. In the United States, everybody complains about the permitting process, which is true. It is difficult to make jobs, to permit jobs here in the United States, but there's a somewhat silver lining to that, in that a permitting process is very democratic. In other words, the communities that you're putting your projects in does have a say in that process. If you work abroad, normally that's not the case, right? So in the Middle East, for example, everything was based on what the royal family wanted. So it really didn't matter what community you were dropping projects into. The communities had no say in.
All right. Great, Gary. Thanks so much.